I'm Cinnamon Cooney, your Art Sherpa, and today I'm going to show you how to paint an ugly, angry feeling in abstract and really take what you're having inside out. Like a lot of times we like to hide what we're going through and we make everything Instagram ready or social media ready and we put our prettiest foot forward and all of that. And on the mic is my husband, John.
Hello.
He is helping me do this very uncomfortable painting because it is kind of getting into that stuff can be difficult, or not putting your prettiest foot forward. To that end, if you're wondering, there's a SpongeBob on my face. There is my very helpful oldest, not a teen anymore, told me about these cool things. They're pimple patches. You put them on and they heal you and keep you from doing any damage. And so I thought it was a fun, cute
That's
way of
awesome.
doing it. And
Yeah.
it does deal with the paints. That was sort of fun. And here I am on a piece where we're not hiding our blemishes and we're putting our maybe curated feelings that we hide from others. We're putting it on a canvas where we can see it. Now, we're going to be using a lot of fun tools and techniques. I cannot wait to share this with you. Remember, if you check the description below, everything is stepped out. It's got timestamps. You can find your spot again. There's a link to the materials. You can get the materials at the Art Sherpa store if you want to buy any of the materials that you saw today. You don't have to. You just could if you wanted to. They're listed there. Shop as you please. There is also an Acrylic April book, so you want to check that out if you want to get that. It can be nice to have to go along for the month. And if you're a person that likes things in an ordered sequential thing with extra bonuses and goodies, you'll definitely want to check out the school. For that, you don't have to freehand this in if you don't want to. You could use the traceable for this one, or you can just let the feeling that you have out as you're doing it. And I would love to challenge you to do that, but I don't want to scare anybody off because this is a fun thing to do and I highly recommend it. All right, so get your feeling that you have maybe been packing away and not sharing with others, and come back and meet me at this canvas right now. We're going to paint through it. Let's go over the materials for the simplistic painting today. So I have an 8x8 surface. I have cad red, titanium white, Mars black. That's all we're using. So today is really going to be strongly about line and form and texture and value and feeling and all those things that make abstract, abstracted, and objective and non-objective abstract art so fun. There's so many kinds, man. It gets
So
really
many.
overwhelming. Like you'll start out and they'll like tease you with it. There's like 4 kinds, and then you're like, there's too many kinds. There's so many kinds. Where did all the kinds come from? It's because art is like that. It always gets deeper as we go. Shall we throw up step one? Let's do that. All right, I'm going to begin with a round brush. I've got this number 10 Raphael Textura round, and I'm going to go ahead and get it wet, and we're going to loosely sketch in what is, in a way, our objective work here. So I'm going to come over here from the side, and I'm going to just loosely bring this in. Right, this sort of little, almost a face shape, but I'll be changing it as I go. And notice that I'm just very sketchy with it, and that's going to be hard to just trust yourself and be loosely sketchy with something. I can promise you. I'm going to go ahead and bring my center line slightly over to the side. Talk maybe right here about what could be a nose-like shape, but notice I'm again very sketchy about it. Just trying to think about those things, but not so much so that I am doing like portraiture. Nah, I don't want her smiling. That seems like the wrong emotion. I think
Okay.
she needs to be a little more snarly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Pull that a little bit open. Again, we're not trying to tell a true story here. Ooh, I like that. Bared teeth. That's good. Who doesn't like bared teeth? So I'll come across here and maybe talk about the eyes here. And notice that I'm leaving these lines in because they're all part of what we're doing. right? We don't want to take away the ugly bits to create a pretty bit for this, because we're trying to show the lines. And that's really going to talk about, get a little deep with y'all here, about how sometimes we blur our lines or try to hide our imperfections.
Right.
Ironic, really. I'm going to go ahead and maybe think about some brows. Those are pretty strong. Some Brooke Shield brows going on there, for those of you that remember. Again, I have to think about, how do I want to tell the story of eyes here? And it's so tempting to want to pretty everything up all the time. Because that's what we get rewards for online, right? Is prettying it up. Now maybe I'm going to actually go higher up into the head here. And get a little sketchy with the brush here. Kind of like pulling in some darkness there. All right, so that our crazy initial sketch. So many people who don't know what we're doing this month going, I don't know what's going on with that lady.
You've gotten, you're very, what was it, brutalist almost.
Well, I wouldn't say we fully like slipped into cubism or anything, but we're not doing things as they are. We're doing things maybe more as they feel. If that makes sense. Yeah. That's more of where we're going to go. So let's call this the step, and then we'll come back. I'm going to show you what you're going to do next. Step 2. All right. So in step 2, I'm going to start with some black, and I'm going to come up here in the top, bringing down some just dark black. I'm using a number 20 hog bristle brush, and that's really just because I want rough stuff happening here. Kind of coming around, being like rough. Come around the edges a bit. And then I'm going to go ahead and get into some white. And notice that it's just not neat. Oh, this is so hard to do, to not be neat. I cannot tell you the not neat difficulty. But we don't want to hide the construction here. We want to keep that in and sort of see that going as we go. So now we have a scary face in a swirling black abyss. Let's try that. Come back and do more abstract. All right, let's continue on. And I've just got to think about, what is my next objective. I'm going to go ahead and grab, this is just a bright. This is a number 12 Textura bright. And I'm going to get some white on here. And it won't be perfectly white, but it will be, you know, white. And I'm going to come in and start painting in planes of face. You know, and I expect stuff to come up during this particular painting process. Whenever you get into this and you dig into a feeling, it can be a really intense moment. And then also, you know, breaking the rules like this can be a little bit much. I'm going to come under here because I feel like I want this to be more... kind of big under that eye. I want them to be looking more up. So I am going ahead and putting, you know, white paint there, but then maybe I'll get some gray. And I'll go ahead and kind of do some of this side in gray. Kind of dividing that planar field in half. Notice that my brush strokes are really rough. I'm filling in the side in the gray. I'm not trying to keep it pretty.
Yeah.
And that is the important and hard part of this. If it's going to, you know, feel like what we're trying to do. Sometimes I still need to get some water on my brush to improve flow.
Right.
Maybe back into some white here just to kind of define that little line. Gray, but a lighter gray over here. And I'll come in with just a bit of shadow there. Keeping it rough. I can really hear it. If it's an angry day, it's a good painting for it.
This is really, I really like the brush strokes in this.
Yeah, try not to get rid of your brush strokes if you can resist it. The temptation to do that is truly overwhelming. Make sure that this is just underneath here. Kind of like that light area. Easy to come back with something dark, but right there, come across. Maybe there again. All right, now I'm going to stop here because the temptation to go further would be overwhelming to me in every way. So I'm going to dry it. You hang in with me. You got to love your painting through its ugly stages. We're going to love this painting. So we're back into our round. I'm going to come here and get some white on there and come on the outside edge. Just kind of give a nice line there. Gonna maybe put some kind of white in where the teeth are, and that kind of changes the way those lines are. It's weird how when you come back and you paint in that happens, but it truly does happen. I'm going to go ahead and grab some black now. Come over the eye. And I'm going to just roll that eye up under the lid. Come in on the inner corner here. I don't want to lose the effect of the distress energy in here. Sometimes when we paint, you know, not always our prettiest emotions, not always our most perfect spaces, what happens is that we actually work through important stuff emotionally. And while I do believe in trying to keep most of my painting, I just kind of came across the line there. Come up the lip pretty strongly. Gonna bring this down. See, I'm pressing hard. Whereas normally I wouldn't press hard. I wouldn't work my brush in that way. Gray over that top. Kind of really pulling that in a bit, doesn't it? I'm going to go right here and kind of sketchy. I'm going to be very sketchy here. And those lines kind of create some energy. I hope you can see that, the stress that can put in there.
Yeah.
I wanted the teeth to feel like they're grinding, and I'm going to get so much feedback for this acrylic April.
Maybe? I don't know. I think this is really cool. It's definitely different, you know?
What's crazy is if you end up seeing this painting, you'll know that we saw it, we painted it, we edited it, and we still released it. I'm going to come on the outside edge here with some black. All right, so we're going to let that, I'm going to dry that. We're going to come back and we're going to do the next layer. So I'm going to come in and do some more messiness. I'm going to get my round brush and I'm going to grab some black paint and I'm going to dip in water and I'm going to kind of thin it. So it's like more of an ink consistency. I'm going to come under the eye and kind of load up what is like a tear. I'll work it down. My brush is super wet for this. So it's holding a lot of water, and I'm going to just hand work the tears down so I can kind of design them. You know, I don't want them just anywhere. They will travel on their own somewhat, but I want to control how they travel. And make sure that it's somewhat kind of considered there. Bring this one down, I think, a little bit. And come off the eye. I think that's an interesting space. I'm going to come in and I'm going to do something weird. I'm going to come in and I'm going to do the white. And I'm going to paint in just inside, leaving kind of a black outline on the outside and the pupil on the inside. See how we're doing? I'm going to maybe take that. I don't love that line. I'm not feeling it. I'm going to grab some white paint in my bright. And if that drips, that's okay too, actually. I'm okay with that too. Okay, that is quite a strong, striking image.
It really is.
Let's dry this thoroughly, right? Because you could let it dry naturally, or you can dry it thoroughly. Since we're in the lesson, we're going to dry this thoroughly. All right, now I'm going to come in with my round brush still, the number 10 Textura round. I'm just wanting a round brush. And I'm going to come here and I'm going to make a little kind of bug-like shape. I don't know if these will stay in because the palette knife work we're going to do, but I kind of wanted to have some of this underwork. Kind of here and there in spaces. Little dot, little bit of a fluffy body, little upward wings. So it's the feeling of that stuff, right? I'm going to go ahead and do some lines that are rough and scribbly. You'll notice kind of around there, they're rough and scribbly. Might remind some of you of writing, or just if you've ever done like angry scribbling. You scribble angrily. Scribble angrily.
You don't seem angry, though. I know. You just seem scribbly.
I don't. But when I thought it up, I was, so that's like, where we were.
You were inspired by like a rawr.
There's a rawr moment.
You can't find your rawr.
Sometimes I don't do a lot of rawr, but sometimes I have a rawr in me. So here it is. Let's try it.
Okay.
So we can continue on our next step with our artist knife. And this is always the weird thing for me, because you paint on these layers and then you take out things and then you question, like, should I have taken it out? And that's always weird. I'm going to load up on the right side. And I'm going to scrape down some black. Kind of on this outer edge. Working that around. I don't want to take out everything, right? I like some of the writing and that feeling, but I do want some of this texture, the way that the knife creates interesting opposing texture. Maybe kind of away from the face a little bit. So I'm painting around things. I can, believe it or not, you can kind of scribble with a knife and get some interesting effects. So this is just getting, you can see that the black creates sort of a strong impact on everything, you know, in the way that the gray or the black play against each other. So if I come here and I take a little bit of white and I add black to it and make a gray, I can also come over what I have creating some dimensionality there. So I'm mixing it in thoroughly. See, so that layering creates another dimension of energy, doesn't it? Scroll that in a bit. It's interesting. The little weird bugs in the... I know I'm going to get the most interesting comments from you guys on this one. Is this the Fire really Phoenix cool of this year's Acrylic April? I don't know. Is it Fire Chicken? We don't know. Let's continue on.
Angry elf.
There's that feeling that I painted. Right there. That's where it came from. Now let's try this and come back and do another step. Maybe today is not the day, sir. Maybe not. So now we're going to add the red. And the red is going to really change the energy of everything here. It's just going to bring in a lot because it is the only color. So I'm going to again continue on with my number 4. I'm going to load it up on the tip of the brush. Not a lot of water. And I'm going to just come in and paint inside the lips. Now, if you have really inexpensive red and it's not covering over the black the way that this is, what you'll need to do is paint the area that you're going to paint red kind of white first. Does she have a feel now? I think she do. All right, so here's the thing. And then where else do we have red? Maybe up here over that eye. Well, that's a whole nother thing, isn't it? I'm going to continue that scribbling. That we had there. That's a pretty intense feeling. Right there. We feel that fairly intensely, don't we? So the red on her creates a little bit right there. It creates a difference in that energy and how she feels. Gonna come and kind of scribble again over that. Really kind of rough. Now I have to really resist protecting everything because I need that to just be layer on layer in. And come back into my red. So one of the things about abstract is not everything, I'm coming back into the lip, kind of exaggerating that. Not everything in that is about being pretty. Sometimes it's about, you know, coping with what you're really dealing with, how you're feeling, you know, in your life, like for realsies. I'm going to wash that out and come. I don't want a hidden drop of water for sure. I'm going to come get some black. Trying to make sure that there's some strength in this sort of eye space. See how we're doing? Strengthening that.
It's very strong.
It's because women are strong.
Yeah.
Women are strong.
I agree with that.
You don't want to get on this side of us.
I agree with that too.
I know you do.
I'm very agreeable.
All right. And then because I want this to stay kind of intense, I'm going to go ahead and get the white that's left and make sure that this is a pretty bright white. So that is, I wonder if I want to, no, I gotta know when I'm done is what it is. And with stuff like this, it's very hard to know exactly when you're done because you can keep coming at it and at it and at it and have it not feel there.
Is this a signing one?
This is, I'm going to sign it. I don't know if we're going to release it. But I'm signing it. So what do you think of that?
I think we gotta bring this into completion.
I think we do. All right. I'm going to take my #1 monogram liner. I'm going to come here and I am going to sign this. I know I said some of them don't get signed, but this one, you know, I think I will. And I'll sign in red, which I don't ever do. And I'll sign even a little stronger than I do because this is stronger than this is different than what I normally get myself into. So, all right, when we come back, we'll tell you what you're going to do next. Okay, so here you are. You've done your angry face. You've painted an angry and ugly emotion, whatever that is. Sometimes we have to take those out and put them on canvas. And maybe that's not a canvas we hang on the wall. Maybe it is. It really is person by person. It's just really what feels right to you. And I think it is important to know that it's okay and safe to go there and then come back out of that space and feel a little bit cleansed or purged or relieved. I think it's really funny that I did this on the day that I'm wearing the SpongeBob pimple patch. I thought that was really
That's funny.
fun about like don't hide your blemishes. Timed out really weird that way. I don't know, maybe my body like picked up a message. Be sure and check out the group. Share your artwork there in the Acrylic April group or the Art Sherpa official group. Be sure, and if you're interested in the book, check out the book. Check out the school if you like the sequential learning. Maybe I'll tell you some more about this painting and what I thought of it. And, you know, like leave a comment. Leave a comment. Let me know what you thought. I'm actually, more than anything I'm painting this particular month, I'm interested to see what everyone thinks of this painting if it gets released. Which, if you're seeing it, it did.
Yeah.
It'll have to be an interesting meeting after the recording. All right. Be good to yourselves. Be good to each other. And I want to see you at an easel really soon. Bye-bye.